So now I'm actually going to create a test case to ensure that my publish and draft are actually working. So the first one is I already have the video create. So this should default to a draft. So I'm going to go ahead and do define test draft case. And I'll go ahead and self. And what we want to do here is just say QS equals to video.objects.filter. And what are we trying to filter here? Well, state equals to video dot, and we want to find the video state options dot draft. Okay, so we're just checking to see if there is a draft case, and we're just going to go ahead and do self dot assert equal, and this is QS dot count being 1. Just like the created count, it's almost identical to that, but now we've got a draft case because of the default value that we set before. So I'm going to go ahead and now run python manage.py and test videos, hit enter. Sure enough, it did test and text correctly. So we've got 1, 2, 3 tests, and we ran 3 tests. Great. So now what I want to do is actually add another video, but this time have it in the published state. So let's go ahead and create another object in here. This time I'm going to go ahead and add state equaling to almost the same thing, but this time it's going to be video.video state options.publish. Okay, so there's a couple tests that are going to fail now. Well, maybe not a couple, but at least one of them, which is this one right here. This should actually be 2 items now because I actually have 2 items in my setup. And now I'm going to go ahead and test the publish case. And there's actually 2 ways to test this. First off, test publish case. We want to test the query set itself, so publish. That's fine. The next thing is we want to test the actual timestamp of it. So I also want to say the QS, or rather the published QS equals to video objects.filter, and publish timestamp is equal to, well, we need to use that time zone one again. So from Django.utils, import time zone. And now we can go ahead and say now equals to timezone.now. And so with inside of Django models, we can do really cool advanced filtering. So for timestamps and, well, other numbers as well, we can actually use greater than or equal to, greater than, less than or equal to. So LTE means less than or equal to, and then we can go ahead and say now. So we want to make sure that our published timestamp is in the past, so it's less than or equal to whatever right now is, and we just want to test that that is true. So basically, I'm going to go ahead and assert true, and this is going to be now the publish QS dot exists. Okay. So if I started adding a bunch of new objects, yes, of course, that's going to cause maybe more havoc on these tests. But that's why we write tests, is to make sure that we aren't causing too much havoc, but we are testing things. And there we go. So we now see that not only did it actually print out some things, and I'll say why in just a minute, but it also ran all 4 tests and no errors. So we can also just double check that that's true by asserting false for this query set, running that, and then now I get that failure because, of course, less than or equal to is true. But of course, this is actually not that great of a filter itself because, well, I don't actually have the state value in here as well. I should have both of those values because both of those values actually mean that you should publish it. So if I run this again, it's still running. So those print statements, well, those come from our models.py when I actually printed out this right here, which I no longer need, of course. So there we go. So a little bit better of testing to just test the different cases that are going on. So now I'd actually wonder, or hopefully you wonder, how do I not repeat myself or make this just a little bit less, how do you say, just so much code? How do we shortcut this? So that's what we'll do in just a moment. But hopefully now what you're seeing is the real benefit of using the video state options as we did is I don't actually have to remember PU or DR or publish or draft. I just have to remember what the constants are in here, which often my text editor will help me do. So then I just go off of that. So I'm not actually going state equals to like remembering state equals to dr, which you totally can remember those things, but trust me, you'll forget them. You might remember it now, but after months of not looking at this, you're not going to remember. So that's what's good about using those choice options. Cool. Let's keep going.